good afternoon or late morning, early afternoon, depending on what part of the country you live in here in America. If you're on the East Coast, like my sister-in-law, um, it is now afternoon. For us here in the Midwest, it's late morning, early afternoon, almost 11:20. For those who live on the West Coast, it's still kind of like mid-morning. Um, it is Monday the 24th. It is the day after a very difficult day. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm trying to turn off the waterworks. Yesterday would have been my father's 80th birthday. Oh, I can't stand that coffee. No, it needs more flavor. Diane bought a thing of, it's a whole case. So like 12 containers of shelf-stable creamer by Splenda. Basically, but you can leave it in your pantry. And when you want it, you can crack it open, pour a little bit in your coffee, and then put it in the refrigerator. The downside is it is just a sweet cream. It has no flavor. So it's kind of like one of the things that I was leery about, because I've had this experience in the back of Splenda in a hot beverage like tea or coffee, just changes the whole flavor and it just doesn't taste right to me. So I gotta literally wash my mouth out with Mountain Dew. So I might have to get my own creamers from now on. But anyhow, yesterday was a bit of a rough day. I did my ADHD video by request, and I've gotten a lot of good actual comments, but I've had a number of nonverbal negative reactions, that's fine and dandy. That's your opinion of what you thought about the video, but I have to say this much. If you did not fully understand what I was trying to get across, and the fact that I was trying to help a number of people who either have ADHD of their own or have nieces or nephews or close family members who have ADHD at a young age, it was just how I dealt with my ADHD since I was alone. My parents didn't know what to do. The school didn't know what to do. The military, because at the time I was diagnosed, the military didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what it was until I was in high school by my early teens. Did not have a label for it. Did not have an understanding of what was going on. I was labeled with all kinds of negative things by the government, and the school system ran by the government on military bases, or back in the 70s when they really did not know what to do. And there's a few of you who just want to be like, oh, yeah, I don't like, whatever. You didn't like the topic, you didn't like the subject, you don't like me, I don't care. If you don't like me, I don't care. But the factor that there's at least 1 out of 10 or more people in various stages of their life, from maybe being born with it like myself, or it just developed over time because of chemical imbalances in the brain. ADHD is not something that's fun for those who have it, because they're struggling with, for me, my struggles was basically the written language. If it wasn't for a very good teacher in high school, I probably would have difficulty reading as is. I mean, worse than you've already seen or heard. I struggle. And, excuse me, I struggled for a very long time trying to figure out how to read. And if it wasn't for the factor that I had a school teacher in high school who basically said, pick a book, any subject, as long as it's a book, not a comic book or graphic novel or anything like that. It had to be a novel of one form or another, and I picked, a book by the author of Mary Summer Rain, and I picked a book that sounded interesting just by the title and the cover. Phantoms of Foot. Ooh, ghost stories. I don't know what drew me to it. I was in a bookstore looking through all the books, and I didn't know what I wanted to read. I didn't know what subjects I'd be interested in. I was drawn to New Age metaphysics and that particular book, and that started me on the realization that if it's a topic, subject, or topic or subject that I'm interested in, I will read it. I will fully understand it, and I fully enjoy it. I'm not somebody who goes out and reads mystery novels or horror novels, or I'm into Dungeons and Dragons and sci-fi fantasy type stuff, or Assassin's Creed. And then I've got books that I was told back in high school I would never be able to read, let alone fully comprehend. My library and my knowledge says otherwise. Now, if you can't understand the problem or the struggles that the people have with that problem, that's your problem. That's not mine. You don't want to learn about these people and hopefully be able to help them, or I don't want anybody to have to deal with ADHD or hyperactivity. Even though hyperactivity as an adult can be great because, maybe you're into sports. Hyperactivity in sports, ooh. Especially if you're a basketball player or hockey or, sports, there's a lot of activity and you're burning off energy like crazy. That hyperactivity, if you can focus that hyperactivity on a sport, you could probably excel. But you have to be interested in that sport to do that. I'm not interested in sports. That, in fact, I'm not physically a sports type person. Not because I'm small or frail or anything like that. It's because, in fact, I don't like running. My problem with most sports is you're going from one end of a field to the other end and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. No, that just bores me. I'm pretty sure if I lived in ski country, and we have lots of ski country up here in the northwest of the United States, cross-country skiing, because of the fact a lot of times cross-country skiing, you're out in the middle of the woods or something like that. I would probably take that up in a heartbeat. It's not as adrenaline boosting as downhill slalom skiing or anything like that. But because most of my interests are books, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things I would love to do that I read about in books, like sailing, cross-country skiing. That's why I've always said if I had a certain skill set that I can take on the road and go from Renaissance Fair to Renaissance Fair to Renaissance Fair throughout the year, boy howdy would I be doing that. But between not really having the greatest of skill sets when it comes to Renaissance type skills, would that stop me from going? No, because I could use my cooking skills for food. I could use various other things that I can probably pick up on or sell, help with sales and stuff like that. I would love to do something like that, but can't do that right now because I have a house to deal with. I have a wife to deal with. She's not ready to do something like that on the road. I was asked recently by my mom, actually both my mom and my wife, what would I like to do to celebrate my 50th? Because Jerry had a big 50th birthday. it's an earmark for both of our families. Um, Now, she had her friends and sisters down here to celebrate with her. Um, I don't have, I would love to go spend the month of October and go visiting my family up in Washington, Colorado, Arizona. Like to get all my family here that is in Missouri for a birthday party. Like to go up to New York to see my in-laws for my birthday, or have them come down here if they wanted to. It's something I would love to see happen. But I don't think that's gonna happen. So I was like, "Do you want?" I literally said to my parents, or my parents. I literally said to my mom and my wife, "Well, since I know we couldn't afford to go overseas for my 50th birthday and see Norway, um, how about just going over to Kansas City for the Renaissance Fair there?" So hopefully I'll get to go. Hopefully, job wise, if I have a job, money wise, whatever, we get to do that. Of course, I have a wish list on Amazon because that's my place to go for most of my items. I know there's a couple pieces on there that are. I think the one item I saw on there that I really liked, it was a I can't remember if it was a battle axe or a sword, but it was like $250, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be one of those wish list items that nobody's going to be able to get me, and I'm not asking anybody to go look for it, but yeah, I have a few items on there, mostly Renaissance clothing right now, because that's what I want to dress in a regular everyday basis. Today I'm not dressed in Renaissance clothing because I only have 3 pairs of pants and 2 good shirts and 1 really loose, flimsy shirt. They're all in the wash now. I'm the type of person who does not like wearing the same clothing items more than a day or 2 in a row, depending on how messed up they might have gotten or how well I'm trying to take care of them. But it has been. What is that noise? Oh, my neighbor's working on his schoolie. I have a neighbor who's like 2 or 3 houses down. He had bought himself last year, or was it the year before? He bought himself in the year an old school bus. I guess it was a school bus that was getting decommissioned because they only used them for so many years before they decommissioned old school buses due to wear and tear. And they'll take them to an auction place and auction them off, or I don't know how he got his, but I just know that that's how a lot of people get them. It's a full-size school bus that he's gutted it. Basically, he's taken out all the seats and gutted the inside, and he's turning it into an RV. So obviously he's got the skills for grinding things down and building things up and all that fun jazz. And I'm like, I'm over here going, I'm so jealous. I don't have the skills and whatnot to convert a school bus into a schoolie, and that's what they call them. But what is it? Something else to call them. I forgot what they call them. My house, every so often I drive by, he's got his the back door to the school bus open, and you can see that he's taking out the seats and whatnot, and did up the floor and the walls and whatnot. He's starting to add the partitions for the different rooms, or the different spaces or whatnot. I'm like, coming along. Taking him a year, but with COVID and all that fun stuff, and trying to get a hold of the materials to do what he's doing, I can understand why it's taking him so long. And yes, folks, I'm jumping all over the place because my mind is getting back to a better place. between yesterday's digging deep into memories and whatnot, and putting them on YouTube for you guys, it was also one of those days of did not want to go there, but I went there. Yesterday would have been my father's 80th birthday. Now, I don't know if I said that on the other video or not, but yeah, yesterday would have been his 80th birthday if he had listened to the doctors and did exactly what the doctors had told him to do to deal with his diabetes, which is basically what caused him to pass away. But he was also a very stubborn stubborn old soul, and being that mom and I were, were very picky eaters. I've grown out of that. Thank God I grew out of that. Oh, but those were also the days where quick and easy meals were the norm because, either dad's schedule for work or how he felt. I remember one time where, actually that was after dad died, before I learned how to cook. There was a good stretch of time where basically dinners were hamburger helper or ground beef mixed in with mac and cheese or ground beef mixed in with rice-a-roni. The days before I knew how flavorful food can be. Mostly because of the fact that I was learning how to cook for the first time, and that's one of the first easy foods I learned how to make was ground beef and some sort of mixed, box item mixed in with the ground beef. I gotta stop drinking that. Yeah, I need to put something else in there. But anyhow, I've already chatted a little longer than I wanted to. I wanted to get into the bullet points of this last segment, or one of the last segments of the Nordic Hygge book, and then I'm gonna start reading the American Cozy soon and see if I can compare the two. But in this first part, it talks about this keeping it simple, and the simple refinements of decorating one's home or making one's home Hygge. And the bullet points are known as, Nordic design is, and their bullet points is functionality yet stylish, a reflection of the, this is a word that I have trouble with, pragmatism, okay, yeah, sure, of both designers and people in the region. So basically, it's just Nordic style. How hard is that? Especially if you live in that region. I'm pretty sure the American Cozy has something along that lines. Contrasting colors and textures that work in harmony with each other. Minimalist yet warm. So keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it, uncluttered yet warm. Focus on natural materials: wood, stone, fur, wool, and glass. That might be good for the Nordic region because a lot of their homes are basically, to reflect the outdoors. They're trying to reflect the outdoors by bringing it indoors. Wood furniture, stone tabletops, counters, fur-like coverings for pillows or blankets, or just throws on your couches. That, in fact, they don't usually use carpet, so their carpeting, they use more like throw rugs. So the throw rugs would be like wool or fur. Wool, another fabric for the couches, cushions, things like that, and glass. Well, glass is supposed to represent on the inside of a home water. because water is kind of like reflective, yet you can see the bottom of the stream or whatnot, unless it's, a slow flowing murky type water. Um, Inspired by organic forms. Okay, yeah. So basically, the inspiration for the decoration is like lakes, fjords, mountains, waterfalls, forests, sea, ice, fire. So a lot of their decor and their style and whatnot reflects the outside world on the inside. Accessible and often not always affordable. Yeah. So a lot of their furnishings can be somewhat expensive. Um, a lot of places in Europe, and I know they talk mostly about the Nordic nations, but a lot of places in Europe, they still have people who specialize in hand carved furniture. Like your headboard, footboard, your bed, everything except the mattress. Even the mattress you can get handmade. It's kind of stuffed with a lot of eider down and whatnot, which I'm not a big fan of when I'm sleeping on, because you always have those little bitty pinpoint ends of the feathers wanting to stab through the fabric, and you end up getting poked in the back or arm, leg, whatever. I do like the eider down quilts and whatnot that they put on top of. You can pull on top of you over your sheet and regular blanket, or a third material. But a lot of times with those eider down blankets, even though they eider down, not blankets, comforters, they're very soft, they're very beautiful, they're very lightweight. But man, even in the middle of the coldest winter, they can keep you nice and warm, because of the eider down interior materials of the quilt, or bedspread, however you want to put it, are designed to basically insulate you underneath it, so you keep warm during the summertime. Not always that comfortable, but it's amazing. They're amazing quilts, or bedspreads, whatever you want to call them. Use light in various forms to add a bright consistency or cohesion, whatever. How? But yeah, a lot of times, a lot of European houses, they're very open, so they have like a lot of windows, a lot of big windows that let in as much light as possible. They even have like the sunroof lights that let in light through the sun, through the roofing. Even during the colder nights and whatnot, they have ways to light up a whole room with very, very little electrical usage. I mean, not just candles, but the way they set up their homes and set up the lighting for the homes, it's very, very nice. Prioritize quality craftsmanship over immediacy. I'm sorry. Prioritize quality craftsmanship over med or. I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that word today. My dyslexia is really in rare form. But I think what they're trying to say is, when you go to decor, the decorations for your home is, craftsmanship over just generalized. This looks like it will function. The Underpacker, again, over in Europe, a lot of their furnishings and their decor and whatnot are handcrafted. I mean, they're quality, handcrafted work. Don't be afraid to mix old and new. So, like, I have 19 something or other, furnishings in this room. The table that I used, the buffet, they were 1920s or earlier. my H cabinet, which my father had commissioned from a Filipino craftsman. It's an older piece of furniture, but not as old as the other stuff. Don't be afraid to take old furniture from, hand-me-downs from your great grandparents or something like that, and mix it with newer furnishings, newer styles. Don't be afraid to mix and match, basically. Um, Sorry, hold on. And as a consequence, perhaps, of that latest characteristics, shuns overly what? Okay. So basically, she's just trying to inspire us to design, create a home, create a design and whatnot that fits your style, your comfort, without um without overdoing it, without overcrowding your home. Now, I'm one of those type of people who I grew up in a minimalist lifestyle because the military was basically you can only take what you can carry, or you can only carry, you can only take X amount of poundage, X amount of weight when you travel overseas. That in fact, it's easier to pack up a house that is a minimalist house that only has the necessary furnishings and whatnot to be comfortable in wherever you live. I think a lot of people could take a page from the military's living style for their own homes, because for the most part, when I was growing up, the only things I had in my bedroom was a bed, a nightstand, and a dresser, and maybe a writing desk, small, like, writing desk for children, in my room. Um, the bulk of my belongings as a child was my clothing and my toys. And even then, not as much as I probably would have wanted or liked as a kid, because of my creative brain making weird looking houses and spaceships and whatnot with Legos. um, I was so mad when we got back to the States because we had one of those big 5 gallon, not really 5 gallon, one of those big popcorn tins that you used to get back in the holidays. You can still get them nowadays. I had one of the bigger ones filled with Legos. We saved it while we were in Germany. We saved it so I can store my Legos in there, and then I used basically that for shipping the Legos back to the States, and it disappeared somehow. So did a lot of other stuff coming back from Germany. We believe that somebody was digging through our belongings, because my mom swore up and down that she had everything clean before they packed it up, and there was a ring of coffee or tea in the bottom of one of the teacups. So it's like, okay, how did that happen? I wonder. But we lived pretty much simplified. And I lived that way all my years up until I got married and moved to New York. Now, I'm not blaming anybody for the extra stuff or clutter or whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying that up until I got married, because every couple, when they get married, they take their possessions and mix them together in one way or another. Thankfully, my wife is getting to the point where she is getting tired of the clutter herself, and we're slowly making headway into decluttering. Now, she doesn't want to live a total minimalist lifestyle, and I don't want to be feeling claustrophobic due to the amount of stuff we have. So we're trying to find a middle ground to make things comfortable. But that's the thing about the what she's trying to describe in this book is to, you don't have to basically be a minimalist, but don't have so much stuff that you can't enjoy the beauty of the simplicity of, more is less. Or, no, I said it wrong. Less is more. I've already, started pulling stuff from various areas of my own to say I don't need this. I'm not using it. I have too many of these, or I have too much of that, or just it's sitting around collecting dust, not being used on a semi-regular basis. Just like my clothing. I went through some of my clothes and I only need half of what I have, because I don't change my clothes often enough to see the necessity of having more than 8, maybe 9 t-shirts, regular everyday t-shirts, or 7 to 8 night shirts that I wear to bed, things of that nature. Of course, Jarian is like not trying to, because I'm semi on the fence of, oh, well, we should keep a little extra so we can, when we get our RV, we can just keep extra clothes in the RV. And I'm kind of like, okay, I can understand where she's coming from, but my biggest fear about that is, if we're not using the RV on a regular basis, and the RV is sitting in storage, while the RV is sitting in storage, the clothing can get chewed up or whatnot by moths or other various insects that chew on clothing. So it's kind of like, maybe. Yes, we still have the dream of having an RV, but that's just us. Anyhow, getting further on, I think this is the last bullet point segment before we get into the new chapter. Yeah. This last one is Hygge investment pieces. And basically it's items that, for those who want to try to redesign their house for Hygge, these are pieces that they can invest in. And she talks about designing from Italia, which is basically, designing from Italian type furnishings. And then she goes to talk about the particular person that designs these items that she's talking about. Most glassware from, some other place in Europe. Furnishings from Sweden is elegant and timeless as in wood. All the pieces, she is literally, I'm sorry, I should have read this a little bit better. This is all different kinds of furnishings and artwork and whatnot from various people in Europe. The downside with all that is it's in Europe and probably costs more to have here in the States. But you can go to, I'll tell you what, for us who live in the States, you want to get some good European style furnishings for Hygge, go to IKEA. IKEA is about the closest thing we have in America for Hygge designing. I want to read this last part, because it is the last, and then I can start reading American Cozy and try to compare the two. But this one is called How to Hygge at a Glance. I'm sorry. Nature sets the pace across. You know what? I don't even think I'm gonna read this. I'm sorry. What I've read so far in the last part of this book is just basically she's going over a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about throughout this whole book. I will tell you this much. I loved this book. It gave me a lot of ideas, gave me a lot of inspiration of how to find my happiness within myself, let alone what I could try to do in this house to make it a little bit more Hygge like. Um, excuse me. Let me just stretch and put that with all the other books I need to find new homes for. I have a lot of books that I need to go through that to decide if I want to keep them or give them away, because I am running out of space for my books. I think the books that I probably will give away are going to be books that I won't need to read ever again, because I'll just open up and read the first paragraph or the intro and go, oh yeah, I remember this book. Unfortunately, I think most of them are going to be the sci-fi fantasy books, because I haven't read them in I don't know how long, and I probably won't ever need to read them again, because I'll probably open them up and read the intro and go, yeah, I remember that. Or some of them I can get on audiobooks if I were to ever get them on audiobook and just fall asleep to somebody reading it to me. I wonder if I need... anyhow. I am happy to be done with that book, not just because of the fact that it was getting to the point where it's just like not really learning anything from it, because I learned a lot from it, but it was just like it was becoming to the point where it's like, okay, I understand what she's saying, but the thing is, how am I going to implement that particular information into American lifestyle? Now, I'm hoping that's what this will do. Now, what I read so far on the back cover and some of the basic information, that's exactly what it sounds like she's going to be doing. In fact, I'm going to read you the table of contents. I love reading through the table of contents, because a lot of times I read through it and go, ooh, okay. But anyhow, of course, the intro, what is American cozy? That's kind of self-explanatory. Then she goes, chapter 1 is basically the foundations of coziness. Chapter 2, easy does it, why calm matters. Yeah, a lot of us are not always calm about stuff. Chapter 3, cozy spaces, clearing out the clutter. Oof, that one right there might be a difficult one. Cozy home, warmth is all around you. Okay. Cozy entertaining, tapping into togetherness. Now, that one I would love to really get into, because it's not that the 3 people who live in this house don't get together don't get together often enough, or at all. It's the fact of that I want to clean up my house and open up my house to guests. Getting my family members, not my close family members that live here in Missouri, even though there are a handful of them that we don't get together enough. But being able to open up my house so I can literally have in-laws come and visit, or even my own family members when they come down here, like my aunt and uncle from Ohio. I don't know when the last time they came down here was, but I like to get this house cleaned up so I can say, hey, why don't you come on down. You haven't seen the new house. Or if they have, I don't remember it. In fact, I think I've had more of my mom's friends over than family members. Chapter 6 is cozy cuisine, comfort at the table. So she's got some recipes in here somewhere, I think, maybe, I hope. Let's see, what page is this supposed to be? 95. Sorry, I want to look real quick, because I'm always... Oh, yeah, she's got a number of different recipes. Well, so, easy roast chicken, fish bake, and coconut milk. Fish is not exactly a fun thing around here. Slow cooker beans. Ooh. Slow cooker beef, roasted vegetables, roasted pork tenderloin, carrot, ginger, almond bisque. So she's got a number of really good sounding recipes. Not a lot, but just enough to get an idea. Then she's got cozy celebrations, holidays and special occasions. Yeah, cozy schedules. I love this one because I read it one. What? Cozy schedules, multitasking, and other comfort killers. Basically, just reading that alone goes, okay, so multitasking and other things that can kill being Hygge. Um, or cozy, as this one will tell you. Cozy business, your work life Heggified. Never thought about that, but because America, we're so we're Americans. Most Americans are so busy with their work life that they don't they have trouble finding happiness. I could have probably used this a couple years ago. Um, Cozy style, simply looking your best. So I mean, just reading the titles, I'm just kind of like, ooh, um, very interesting because oh, and this is recipes on homemade scrubs. The workable wardrobe. Sorry, I had to jump to this, cozy, simply looking your best. I'll have to read that. I mean, I'm reading some of these titles for some of the chapters, and I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to dig into that tonight. Do I have a bookmark? Yes, I do. Okay. But anyhow, I'm done with the How to Hagee book. I mean, I've gotten a lot of good pointers and whatnot, a lot of things I'd like to try to do more of. I mean, I have a bouquet of flowers on my table that I've had for going on 2 weeks now, and they're still viable, living. They don't look like they're starting to die off or anything like that. I've been trying to keep them watered and whatnot, but um, I was reading the other day about how to keep a bouquet of flowers fresh in your house for as long as possible. And well, what I need to do probably today or tomorrow is I need to take them out of the current vase, put it in a fresh vase with fresh water, and clean out the old vase, because one of the downsides of flowers is, even though when you get them from the florist, they come with a little food pack to help them stay healthy. But that food pack will only last 1 week's worth of time. After that, you need to try to change out the water, clean it up, because the factor what will happen is slowly your water, even though it's good fresh water, there will be an enzyme that builds up in the water and cause what looks like fungus floating on the water, like this weird looking scum in the water. So you have to be careful of that, because that is what will start to kill off the flowers, is that bacterial growth within the vase. Excuse me, my eye was itching. So I gotta go look after my flowers. Um, if not, I will see if I can afford the $6 or $7 that it cost me for that bouquet and go get a new one, which is what I would like to do, is just get a fresh one. But I'm the type of person where I'm like, okay, yeah, it's nice to get a fresh bouquet every week or so, but if I can keep the flowers that I currently have healthy and not starting to look like they're going to start dropping petals, then I'm not going to worry about getting a brand new one just because it was suggested to get a new one every week. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. Anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Um, I really do appreciate all the people who give a thumbs up and positive comments, because days like yesterday where I was just down in the dumps, it was more beneficial to see those positive comments. I kind of wish there would have been a little bit more, but I can't make everybody who looks at my videos have positive feedback or not, because that's just wrong to force people to do that. But I'm a little bit better today. I'm gonna go out, make food for me and the wife, and as soon as we're ready, we're gonna try to start working on some cleaning projects. One of the biggest cleaning projects that Jerry wanted to work on today was our kitchen table. The one end that we don't use for eating is getting cluttered with a little bit of everything. So we're gonna try to work on that today, and then I would like to try to just totally finish up in the kitchen by finishing up the table, sweeping and mopping the area around the table, and be able to say, yay, my kitchen is done. All we have to do is keep it maintained, which I got the cooking part of the kitchen, the area that around the stove, sink, refrigerator, and all that cleaned up, scrubbed the cabinets, did the floors. Well, no, I take that back. I did not sweep the floors as of yet, because I figured between all the stuff that we've been doing, plus the cleaning, the finalized cleaning that we needed to do in there, I would end up having to just resweep it. So right now, my biggest headache is, well, it's not even a headache. It's just trying to get everybody to cooperate, because granted, I do most of the work in the kitchen right now because I'm home all the time. But mom comes in, she makes a mess. She does what is necessary for everyday life. But what I'm trying to get her to do is, when she's done making a sandwich or working on the counter, to try to, maintain a clean area by just, right now I don't even care if she just swipes the crumbs onto the floor so they can be swept up when I'm done. But no, I literally am like, I love everybody in my house, but if we can all just work together to maintain a clean, decent looking house, it will not be as much of a headache when it comes to cleaning day. So, and then hopefully once we're done with all the projects that we usually work on Tuesdays for, that cleaning day could be every other day, if not twice a week, just to maintain a clean home. That's my biggest headache, because even I have issues remembering to clean up after myself. And that's usually because it's either late at night and I'm too tired to focus and clean, or I'm half awake, half asleep, and forget about, wiping down the counters and whatnot once I'm done making an early morning snack or a midnight snack. Ooh, excuse me, that was rude of me. I am so sorry. Let me clarify that without a yawn. Sometimes when I make a early morning or late night snack before going to bed, I am either too tired or just not even aware of what I'm doing other than making food, that I forget to wipe down the counter. But we are making headway. Slowly but surely, our house is starting to get decluttered. I don't know if I told you this, but I think it was either Friday or Saturday, we came into this room and mapped out the room size and the particular furniture sizes. Basically did the same thing we did with our master bedroom. Our master bedroom. Our bedroom. There's no master bedroom in this house. So we can basically take the outline of the room with the dimensions written into it, and lay down the pieces of furniture and say, okay, yeah, this looks like it's going to work the best the way we want it to. So that's where we're at. We're slowly doing that. Hopefully tomorrow we will have the bedroom finished, basically cleaning up the two, finish cleaning up Jared's dressers and cleaning up the closet. And then once the closet has been cleaned up and worked on it and decluttered and purged of old clothes and whatnot, we can start tearing out the floor. So I'm kind of like, yay, we're getting there, we're making it, we're working it. So yeah, like I said, we're making headway. It's just very slow. Anyhow, I'm sorry, this video has gotten a little bit longer than I wanted. It's almost 50 minutes long, almost more than 50 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start signing off. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have a question or comment, go ahead and put it in the question comment box. If you're new to my channel and choose to subscribe because of this video or other videos that I've done, go for it. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and then a bell will pop up. And once that bell has popped up, you can click on that, and YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.